Welcome to our live video every week. This is your host, Demi Bernice. And we did it a little bit earlier because we have someone very, very special that's coming in live at this very live video. So without further ado, he's one of the smartest people that I know and a big fan. Big fan. And truth be told, he is also a very wonderful person, my partner in life, and at the same time, my business partner. So without further ado, I'll call him in. Ladies and gentlemen, my future husband, Charot. Bo Norton. Hi, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for the flattering introduction. That was very nice. Good to see you. Good to be here. And I hope you all are
Yes.
doing well. We have some good stuff to share with you today.
Okay, so right
So,
off the
Demi,
bat,
lead us
babe.
in.
Right off the bat, can I just say your shirt is like the perfect statement of who you are as a person. I was social distancing before it was cool.
True story. Who can relate? Give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like and a thumbs up if you can relate to Bo's shirt. So before we start, I'd just like to ask everyone if you can please like and share this video to your friends and family if they are very much interested in creating an online business. So Bo is going to share something about that specific, online business here in this very live video. So before we start, I'd just like to say that, oops, sorry, my AirPods fell. Hang on. So I just like to say, hang on, wait a second. Yeah. So I just like to say that, Bo and me are very much an advocate of creating more leaders. So we'd like to be a part of a community or society or a world per se, wherein we're composed of like leaders that are true, that are, excellent in their very own way and can share awesome stuff to the people who are needing their help. And so that is the reason why Bo is here today. So Bo, can you share to us what you're going to share this afternoon?
Yep. Today I'm going to share with you what I call the CLA wealth creation formula for aspiring influencers. And this is the same formula that Demi and I have used to create a lot of freedom in our lives, but also help a lot of people. I'm sure you guys have seen the positive impact that Demi has had on people's lives with all the value she's given away on her Facebook page and also with Create and Rise Academy. And we just want you to know that if you are inspired by that and thinking of doing something similar, that you definitely can. And, we're not special. We're not any more capable than you are. And we think this is really a path worth following. So if you're interested in building an online business of any kind, or an online business as a leader specifically, a business that gives you freedom in life and potentially wealth and also allows you to make a meaningful difference in other people's lives, if that's something you're interested in, then you're in the right place.
So with that said, we're talking about online businesses. Can you give us like further examples on what made that look like? Like what profession is it exactly?
Well, specifically, what we're going to recommend is people do something similar to what Demi has done with Create and Rise Academy. There are many different ways to succeed with an online business, but our recommended way is through digital products, right?
Yeah.
So digital products such as online courses, coaching programs, memberships, things like that. And so if you're interested in doing anything like that, then I'm going to share with you the formula that Demi and I have used to grow our business quite quickly and help a lot of people, right?
Okay, so hang on a second. Apart from, of course, we're going to be recommending like the online course in itself or being a digital product creator or sharing your knowledge to the world. But does the formula also work for people like, let's say, authors, for example, or YouTubers, or people who are, what else? Like bloggers, for example, like all those types of what we call influencers nowadays. Would that formula still work in terms of those people?
Basically, it can work for anyone who wants to start any kind of entrepreneurial venture.
Okay.
You talk a lot about freelancing, right? And freelancing is a is a step forward. It's a step above being an employee, right? But we believe people can go further than that, and that freelancing is just a stepping stone. A lot of people want to earn more passive income, maybe, and they also want to share with others what they're learning. And so we kind of want to share with people how they can go beyond freelancing into a more of a leadership role where they're sharing their knowledge, whether that be through writing or videos or podcasts or anything like that.
Yeah, podcast.
I can
That's a
get
good
into
one.
the formula. Do you want me to get into the formula?
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So C in the formula, the CLA wealth creation formula, C stands for compensation. So how you're being compensated in life. Now, most people, they are taught from a very young age that the way that you become successful or live a decent life is you go to school, you go to college, and you get a good job, hopefully, that pays a good hourly rate, hopefully, and you work for 30 or 40 years. And maybe someday when you're 60 or 70 years old, you can retire and finally have freedom in your life, right? And that never really sat well with me. I never really wanted to take that path. And so since I was
Same.
20 years old, I've been looking for ways to have more freedom in my life. And it has led me down the path of entrepreneurship. And the reason that most people never get ahead in life or become as successful or as wealthy as they want to be or become financially free, the reason they don't is because they're not using the right equation, right? Their equation that they're using is hours worked, number of hours worked times hourly wage, and that equals my earnings, right? And the problem with that equation is that your time is a limited resource. You only have so much time in a day. You only have so much time in your life, right? Time is the most valuable thing we all have. So if you're trading your time for money, that's a limitation. And other people, they look at the other side of the equation. They realize their time is limited, so they try to make more money per hour.
Yeah.
And in Create and Rise Academy, I know you teach people how to develop skills so that they can charge way more per hour, but you don't just teach them to charge hourly, right?
Yes. So the thing with Create and Rise is that apart from having an hourly rate, I also encourage them to have a per project rate and at the same time monthly retainers. So the ultimate pinnacle would be like monthly retainers, and the per hour rate is a good start. Because not everyone is going to be comfortable with asking for per project rates and monthly retainers, more so monthly retainers, because monthly retainers are requiring more commitment on the client's end. So that is why it's like what do you call this? Like stages per se. So hourly, and then we have per project rates, and then we have monthly retainers, which is what Bo was saying. In monthly retainers and in per project rates, you don't really necessarily need to exchange your time for money, but you are more getting into the what we call value-based pricing, which you are paid for not only for the time that you are spending in that project, but what you are technically doing or the value that you provide in your client's table. So
Yeah, so you're getting paid for not for your time, but you're getting paid for the outcome that you're providing, the solution that you're providing. You're getting paid for the end product, basically. So,
yeah.
for example, if you're designing a website, you're not getting paid for how long it takes you to design the website. You're getting paid for how valuable that website is to the client, right? So that's a step up from charging hourly. You can charge hourly or you can charge per project, but you're still trading your time for money in a way. Yes, you can earn a lot more, but you're still trading your time. So it's going to be hard for you to generate what might call wealth or a lot of money, right?
Okay.
And you're also not
So
going to have total freedom.
So you
Yeah.
were saying,
Go ahead.
in terms of the website production per se, what we're talking about trading your time for money, basically, if we're going to use that in a metaphorical way, that only means that you can't multiply the websites that you have designed. And in terms of what Bo is going to be talking about today, you can actually sort of like multiply the product that you are creating, right? Or multiply yourself per se, and then that's what you're going to sell, right? So that's the difference between freelancing and using the CLA wealth formula. is that in websites, you can only create one website for a client because it's custom made. But if you're going to use the CLA formula or sell a digital product, for example, you can actually multiply yourself, create one product, and send it or distribute it to more people or to the masses. So that's basically what we are talking about. So why don't you,
Yeah.
are you done yet with letter C, or do you want to proceed to the second letter?
Yeah, basically I just want to touch on that real quick.
Okay.
So we're basically encouraging people to create a productized service. So you're serving people, but you're doing it not by trading your time. You're doing it by creating a product, and the product itself delivers the value, delivers the solution. And Create and Rise Academy, your online course, is an example of that. It's a product that's digital that provides a solution that helps people, but it can easily be duplicated. So if you sell 100 products, it doesn't take you any more time really to sell 100 as it does to sell just one. So if you have a product that can be duplicated, you kind of separate the time from money. So you're no longer trading your time for money, and that changes the whole equation and allows you to generate much more income than you ever could otherwise.
Okay.
And that is C, compensation, how you're being compensated. You have to think about that. Are you trading your time for money, or are you creating assets and things that can be duplicated, that can be sold?
Oh, and to add, the assets that can be sold that you're trying to distribute, it should be solving a real world problem. Okay? You can't just randomly like create a product, a digital product about something, and it's not solving a real problem. So remember what I talked about in my previous live video, guys, that when you are trying to sell something and when you are an entrepreneur, you are solving a real world problem, and that's basically what entrepreneurship means. Okay, so I'm not going to hold you. Yeah. Go
I was gonna
ahead.
say, where does money come from? Money comes from other people, right? So if you want to make more money, you have to realize that it's not about you. It's about creating something that is desirable to others, something that other people want and need.
Okay.
So we'll move on to the next part of the equation now.
Yes, please.
Yep. Okay, so C is compensation, the CLA wealth creation formula. So C is compensation, L stands for leverage.
Okay.
And we live in the best time in history. I don't think people realize how good we have it and how easy we have it. If you think like 30 years ago, before the internet was even a thing really, or social media, if you had a product that you wanted to sell, you probably had to like get on the phone and call people one at a time, or go
Knock
knock
on
door to
doors.
door. Yeah. So you had I mean, there were other ways, but you didn't really have a lot of leverage, right? You didn't have what we have today. And I think people are not using the internet and social media the way that they should be. Most people are just scrolling through their newsfeed, consuming everything that comes their way. They're watching videos and reading posts, reading
Doom
the
scrolling.
media, propaganda, whatever it is, politics. They're consuming, but they're not creating value, right? And that's a lost opportunity. That's a huge missed opportunity. There's nothing wrong with consuming, but you want to have a balance. You want to maybe make it 50-50. So for every 3 hours you spend scrolling on social media, spend 3 hours creating something of value that you can post on social media. Like, that's an example of how you can create balance. So we need to become creators more than just consuming. Okay.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but let me hold you back on that one, because people will be saying like, yeah, I'll be scrolling 3 hours on social, and you're asking me to, compose or create something in 3 hours in exchange. There are so many limiting beliefs that we need to unpack on that one, most especially people who are saying like, I don't have anything to offer, I don't have anything to sell, I don't have anything to share to my followers, I am so shy and whatnot. How can you counteract or rebut those limiting beliefs of the people who are watching this video?
Well, first of all, you can start small, and almost everyone has a Facebook page or Facebook profile, right, that they post on. You post to your family and friends. So I would just encourage people to start small with, like, instead of posting about what you ate for breakfast or something that doesn't really add value to people's lives, post something that you learned today. Post something valuable that someone can read or look at, and it improves their life or makes them happier in some way. You have to get into the habit of providing value to others and uplifting other people, solving problems for people. That's how you get ahead in business and entrepreneurship, is you solve problems for other people. You make it about others, not just about yourself. So it's okay to start small. And also, you probably take things for granted in your life, things that you already know how to do, skills you already have, and you take it for granted and don't realize how valuable that skill might be for someone else who doesn't have that skill. So there are things that we all learn through life, and we tend to think that the things that we know and understand, that other people understand those things as well, and that's not true. People haven't had the same experiences as you. They haven't learned the same lessons you have. They've grown up under different circumstances, and they might not have the same knowledge or wisdom that you have, or experience in a certain area of life. So don't forget about the things that you already have to share. You have to remember, instead of looking at all the people ahead of you, all the experts and gurus and people, like Demi, who have a huge following of people and that look up to her, don't compare yourself to people like that. Be inspired by those people,
Check.
but really you got to get in the habit of looking back. Instead of looking forward and comparing yourself to people who are ahead of you, look back and realize all the people that could use your help.
Okay.
And we all take for granted the knowledge that we have. Like, for example, if you're a mother and you've raised children before, well, there are a lot of new mothers out there that are just having children. Maybe they got pregnant unexpectedly, and now they're thrust into this new life that they're not prepared for. And you, being a mother who has already raised children, you have a lot to offer maybe to a new mother who's going through that, because you've already been through it. So just little things like that. Just think about the things you've already learned in life, and don't take it for granted. Share it, and you might be surprised at how positive of a response you get from people. You might realize that you have more to offer than you thought you did.
Okay, so let me share also my insight on that one. In my case, in creating CRA, I already had the experience of being a freelancer. And so I just really used my experience, documented it, and that's what I created as a course. So you can do the same exact thing, right? I didn't like arrive in this Facebook page or started running ads and be like, yo, like I studied freelancing for a very long period of time. It wasn't like that. It was more of like I experienced this certain thing and then I know very well that it might be of help to some people. And so that's exactly what I did, right? So you can do the same exact thing. Be your, what do you call that? Is there like a quote for that? Be your test, your testimony, and your mess, your message. I think. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
So document the journey is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So document the journey. Like, choose a goal, something you want to achieve in your life, and start moving towards it. And then just document the journey and what you're going through to get there and what you're learning. And, like, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to be the person who's on the journey, and other people will follow you. For example, if you want to, maybe you're a little overweight and you want to lose weight. Well, start losing weight today and start documenting what you're doing to lose weight. What are you eating?
Yeah.
What's your meal plan? What's your
Eating,
exercise routine?
exercise.
There are so many other people out there that want to lose weight as well, that would be so inspired probably by you, and they would follow you and listen to you, and they would share that journey with you. And just doing that, you could build a loyal following of people who know, like, and trust you, and that could be turned into a business eventually. Something as
So
simple
one
as
thing
that.
that so one thing that I'm also concerned about is that people who are watching this video, they might already have this what you call mess that they want to turn into a message. But the thing that's holding them back is like, what are other people going to say about me if I'm going to share about this? What are my family going to say? They're going to think that I'm stupid for posting this stuff on my personal account. Like, what is your advice for that kind of people? Because I know very well that when I started the journey, that was also one of my fears. Is like, I'm so scared of hate up until this day. Like I'm still scared of hate comments. So there are times or there are videos that I don't post. There are some posts that I don't post just because I'm super scared about what other people think. And I get to a point where I can get extremely polarizing that I might really anger some people, right? And then there are also people that have the same fear. So what can you tell them exactly to simply overcome that kind of hindrance that discredits them or does not allow them to simply push forward, that kind of like fear, basically.
Right. Well, first you have to accept that it's going to happen. Not everyone is going to agree with what you're doing, and it doesn't matter because you're doing what's best for you, and you're also trying you're trying to help people, right? You don't get ahead in life if you don't help people anyway. So you have to really just make it all about the person you're serving and the people you're trying to help, and just make it about others, not about yourself. The more you think about yourself, the more insecure you'll be. And it's easier said than done. I know that for sure. But you just have to put yourself out there and not get emotionally reactive to people who don't like you or whatever. And with that
Ouch.
said, like 99% of people are going to be inspired by you, most likely. It's only 1% of people or less that will come out to say something critical of you or not agree with you, right? So if you think about it that way, it's kind of irrational to focus on the 1% of people who don't like what you're doing when 99% of people love you and approve of what you're doing. So you got to keep the right perspective and make it about serving others, not about feeding your ego or trying to be somebody.
Are you
That
like
is what I
talking
would
to
say
me
about.
right now?
Yeah, I'm
Because
talking to
that
all of
like,
us.
okay,
I'm talking
point
to me
taken.
too. It's easier said than done, I realize, but you just have to keep that in mind.
Okay. So would you like to proceed to the next letter already, or do you have anything to add on that one?
Um, yeah, well, I wanted to give a quick analogy. Like I was saying, without leverage back in the day before the internet, it was like knocking door to door, trying to sell people individually, one by one. But leverage is like, instead of knocking door to door, you're in a stadium with 100,000 people and you're able to give the same message to 100,000 people at once instead of knocking on 100,000 doors, right? That's what the internet is. That's what social media is. It's all these people gathered in one place that you now can talk to and communicate with. And we've never had that in human history. So we're really living in the greatest time ever. There's never been more opportunity, and there's really no excuse anymore. If you have access to the internet, and if you're watching this, you obviously do. So if you have access to the internet, and there's no excuse, you can start a business, you can have financial freedom, you can do it if you put your mind to it. That rhymes. So that's
Yeah, that's
cool.
cool. Also, I'd like to say this is the reason why I feel like I need to continue what I'm doing. I need to create more videos to spread the word, especially here in the Philippines. You know how like there's so many people that don't even know that you can actually make money from the internet. And if you say that to a person, they're like, "What are you talking about?" you know, like if you're going to sell something on the internet, it's like, really? That works? Because that is why I'm so motivated and I'm a huge advocate of using digital marketing to create ultimate freedom in your life, is because like what Bo said, you can literally, it simply looks like you're standing in a stadium and there's this one message that you would like to express and you can easily do that. Like what we're doing right now in this live video is like we have 200 something people that are listening to us, and that cannot be possible. Imagine like knocking 200 doors right now just to say exactly what we want to say or to spread CLA formula, basically. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
difficult back in the day. So you get what I'm saying? It's like we have this specific miracle in time in this specific era that we might as well take advantage of or leverage as letter L, right? And then we can get our ultimate freedom that way.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yep.
before we proceed to the last letter, I'd just like to ask people who are watching if you have questions, clarifications, anything you want to ask Bo and me in terms of building an online course, in terms of becoming an influencer, in terms of becoming a personal brand, anything at all that you feel is incredibly relevant to the topic that we are talking about right now, drop them in the comments and then we'll be answering them after we have discussed the entire formula. Okay? So, do
Yep.
you want to proceed to the last letter?
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost done here. So CLA, the CLA wealth creation formula. C is compensation, L is leverage, and A stands for automation.
Okay.
So this is where it gets pretty fun, I think, because this is where you
To
can start to
you.
create paths. To me, I love this stuff. But it's fun
Yeah.
because this is where you can create passive income, right? And the analogy I gave, like speaking to 100,000 people, you probably don't want to be a salesperson and be trying to sell large groups of people or even just one person, right? You don't want to be a salesman. And so how do you get around that? A lot of people avoid business altogether because they don't want to sell. They don't want to be a salesperson. And the way around that is to create an asset that does the selling for you. And so the selling becomes automated. So instead of going door to door and trying to give a sales presentation to every person, and you have to re-give that presentation every time, why don't you just make a video that educates people on your product or your solution, explains why they need it, and gives them an opportunity to buy your product? Why not just make a video explaining all that does the selling for you? And then you only have to make that video once, and then you can just send thousands of people using leverage, the internet. You can send thousands of people to that sales presentation, that video that you only had to make once. So you only have to sell once. And the rest of the time, you just have to focus on, serving people, sharing your message in a non-salesy way, a non-hypey way. You don't have to be a salesperson. And Demi, you have never really sold, have you? Like,
No.
you've never really sold Great Rise Academy, like
I hate
barely
that
at all.
part. I extremely hate that part wherein, people are like telling me like, especially on live videos, and people are telling like, how much is CRA, like how much is the tuition fee now to enroll to CRA, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to say that part because it just gets into my nerves selling something. I don't feel very comfortable. Maybe because, like everyone else, we have kind of like
You'll be
consciousness or
judged for it.
mindset. Yeah, I'm scared of being judged as greedy, as a scam, as a fraud because I'm asking a certain amount of money for the knowledge that I have collected over the years. And so I feel guilty, talking about the course or the product that I'm selling because apart from that, I'm scared of getting labeled as scam or fraud, which regardless if I didn't really sell CRA, I'm still getting labeled as that. Secondly is like, you know, I don't like the idea of selling something even if I believe in my product per se, right? And I told you about this over and over wherein like I have the tendency to like feel very guilty for the money that I'm making because the work doesn't look hard. Or I'm
Yeah.
already like making so much stuff. I'm creating like videos and like doing all this stuff. Like I'm spending a lot of hours creating this, but it never feels like work. And so somehow I feel like I'm a scam or a fraud. But you always reminded me how that's not true because these
Yeah.
experience that you compiled in this knowledge is actually, you're
Well,
shortcutting the
I have a
path for
couple
the
things.
people.
I have a couple things that I want to say about that.
Okay.
First of all, if you weren't making the money and if you weren't selling Create and Rise Academy, then we would have no money to scale the business, and therefore we wouldn't be able to help nearly as many people. So
Yeah.
money is just a tool that you can use to serve more people. I mean, you can use it for your own needs as well, obviously, but it's a tool, especially in business. It's like the lifeblood of a business. If you don't sell, you don't have a business. And if you don't have a business, you can't serve nearly as many people as you could if you did have a business. So selling is serving, really. That's how I like to think about it. It serves your business and allows you to reach more people with your message, which helps people, right? So selling is a good thing. Making money is a good thing if you're doing it in an ethical way. And also the point of this equation, the CLA wealth creation formula, the point of it is to make it easy, right? We
Yeah.
have this limiting belief that if we make a lot of money, we have to work really hard for it, or we have to work a lot of hours for it. And if it comes easier than that, then we're somehow greedy or wrong. And no, I just say you're smarter if you're doing it that way. Like, why would you work hard for something that can come easy? It doesn't have to be hard. That's just a limiting belief that we have ingrained in us probably since our childhood, and it goes back many generations. But it doesn't have to be hard, and you don't have to feel guilty for being successful either. That's important to realize as well.
Okay. So
So
to
that's
add
the formula,
also,
CLA.
yeah, you were
Yeah,
saying?
go ahead.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I'm going to add something on the automation part. So if there are people here who are currently freelancers, right? You are currently freelancers and you also wish to build an online course. So this is why I feel like freelancing is the leverage, or not really the leverage in this case, but it's more of like a springboard to this automation thing, or to this whole automation, is because when you want to automate something, it's really going to require a tad of money. And there are so many people that are building online courses right away because they're very much, impatient to become an influencer, and I get that. But you
Yeah.
really need money for that. And there are so many people that don't really have the money to use for ads because they don't have that springboard. And that is why it's only right, if we're going to put it on stages, if I am going to, like the same exact thing that I did is like I became a freelancer, and whatever it is that I earned from freelancing, that's what I used to spend money on the ads that I'm running. Okay? Right? So
And also
that's,
you're gaining skills. You're also
yeah.
gaining skills when you're freelancing. And if you're gaining skills, then you have more to teach, more to share, more to offer. And so it'd be easier for you to make a product if you already have skills, obviously. But you don't have to go that path. Freelancing is one route you can take. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. You can keep talking if
That's
you want.
fine. So that's basically it when it comes to automation. You can have a leverage, you cannot, you may or may not have a leverage, but I think I'm biased here. Like you said that, oh, you can probably, it's okay that you don't go that route, but like to me, it's good. Like it would be like a plus point or a bonus point. It's not necessary, but I would think that it's a nice to have if you are a freelancer back in the day, and then you use whatever the money that you're making to feed to the online course, or to, yeah, to spend
Yeah.
to the ads or the online course that you're
Yeah, you
creating.
should
Okay.
have you should at least have some money to invest, and you shouldn't go into this with a get rich quick mentality. Don't do it with desperation, like I'm only creating an online course or digital product because I'm desperate for money, like right
Oh
away.
yeah.
That's not a good place to be, because then you're gonna be selling from a place of lack, and people are gonna feel that, and it's not gonna be very attractive to others if you're trying to sell because you're desperate. So you do want to have at least a little bit of savings, probably at least before you jump fully into this. Yeah.
Okay. So with that said, we're already done talking about what the CLA stands for. I'd like to touch a little on some limiting beliefs that you think might be able to help the people who are wishing to get into this formula. So, for a beginner, for example, like what's the best way for a beginner to use this equation?
Didn't we already talk about that a little bit? I think we did.
Okay, so
Like
let's
looking
let's
at what you have.
expound on that one.
Okay, well, I have another little analogy that I kind of touched on this already, but I want you to think about, a mountain. Let's say you're climbing a mountain and you're trying to get to the top of this mountain, and you have two other people on this mountain with you. One of those people is at the top of the mountain, and another one of those people is just one step ahead of you on the mountain. Who's going to be more helpful to you? The person at the top, they might be inspiring. They might inspire you to get to the top, the person at the top of the mountain. But who's going to be more helpful to you? The person at the top who can't really do anything, or the person who's just a step ahead who can reach their hand back and pull you
Yeah.
forward, pull you up?
Cause
Um,
that's a really
yeah,
good analogy. How are you so good at this? It's like
it took me a
that's
while to
his
come
like
up with that one. But
superpowers. Like one of Bo's superpowers is really just creating these metaphors that can help you understand the concept better. So allow me to
yeah,
like disintegrate that one. Where you're talking about a person who is at the top of a mountain and another person that's just a couple of steps from you. So if I'm going to imagine it, it's like the person at the top of a mountain be like, "Yeah, that's so cool. Keep going,"
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just going to, they're just going
They're like a
to
cheerleader,
encourage you. Yeah, it's like,
like
"Yeah,
come
that's
on,
cool. Like
come
you can
on.
do it." But the person who's one step ahead of you in that very mountain that you're climbing, they're more likely to extend their hand and they're more likely to help you more than the person who is just cheering for you. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm basically saying be that person who's just a step ahead. Stop trying to
Okay.
be the person at the mountaintop. Like, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to be one step ahead. And even if you're not one step ahead right now, if you just, like, I like to tell people, if you just read one book on a subject, you're probably already ahead of 99% of people in the world at that subject. Because 99% of people have never read any books on that topic.
Oh, yeah.
So if you just read one book on a topic, you're already more knowledgeable than 99% of people on planet Earth, probably. So in the beginning, if you don't have a lot of knowledge or skills, just focus on solving tiny problems. Don't think that you have to create this product that just solves everyone's problem,
Yeah,
or
that's
changes
true.
someone's life in a huge way. Like, solve small problems first, and then over time you'll get better and you'll be able to solve bigger problems. But don't try to jump to the finish line, because you're just going to frustrate yourself if you try to do it that way.
I'd like to add to that one that Seth Godin always says, we are so addicted about becoming this huge person. Like, oh, I want to be a huge person with a lot of following. Like, I want to be like this person who has like 1 million followers. Like, I want to be that person right away. And then when we don't have some sort of like progress while we are in that journey, then we get frustrated naturally, because you are comparing yourself to a person who has already rendered like 1 year of his or her life for that specific project, and you're just starting out and you're already frustrated, right? So what Seth Godin says is
Yeah.
that try to impact 10 people before you even try to impact 1,000 people, because you're not really going to make that 1,000 people if you're not going to meet the first 10, right? So that's something that
Yeah.
I
Even just
really
one,
agree on. Yeah, even
it
just
starts
one.
with just one. And, Demi, that I want to share with people how earning a full-time living as a creator, as a leader, sharing your knowledge or passion or experience, earning a full-time living really only requires 100 customers per year. So you don't need thousands and thousands of customers. You don't need tens of thousands of followers. You don't need that. I mean, you might get there eventually. Sure, you can, but you don't need that to earn a full-time living. You really only need 100 sales per year if you just use the right strategy. And I'm going to be sharing more with you guys about that in the future. I'm going to be coming on live a couple more times at least, maybe more
Yeah.
than that. But I do want to share with you that it's easier than you might think, and to just recommend to stop thinking that you have to be like all these people that have millions of YouTube subscribers or all these
Yeah.
followers. Like, you don't have to be that to be successful. So that's one of my messages that I want to get across.
Okay. So I have one question before we go through the comment section and see if they have questions for us. One thing that I'm a little adamant also, maybe because I've been reading all these messages and comments in my content page for a while, there are so many people that are not sure what kind of business they're going to build. It's like they just jump from one business to another and then to another business and to another, because they are just not sure what they want to make, right? And if we're talking about
Yeah.
online courses, there are also so many people that they know very well they want to build an online course, but they are not really sure what niche to get into. So how would you recommend they figure that out?
To figure out your niche. Well, this is something that holds up so many people. It has, I've struggled with this a lot too, like trying to figure out my niche. And I think what I've realized recently is that you shouldn't try so hard to figure out your niche, because you already know in your heart what you're interested in. Like, yeah, you need to go in a general direction, but in the beginning, you might need to try a lot of different things to figure out what your thing is. Like, you're not going to really know what your niche is until you start moving forward and creating things and helping people and figuring out what you like and don't like. If you don't move forward, you can't figure that out. So my first recommendation is just to get started sharing your knowledge, as little knowledge as you might have. You might only have a little knowledge, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just start sharing. Get in the habit of learning every day and then sharing what you're learning. and going on a journey towards a goal and documenting the process and just sharing that. And you don't have to get it perfect. You're not going to have the perfect niche, and your niche can change 20 times in your life. It doesn't matter if you choose one niche the first year of your business and then the next year you decide you want to do a different niche. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, though, I would say what matters more than choosing a niche is having a product that serves a niche. Meaning, it's not so important that you try to make yourself into this tiny little niche, but it is important that your product solves a specific problem for a specific type of person. Because the more specific your product is, the easier it's going to be to sell. It's very hard to sell like a very general thing, like here's an online course about how to be happy in life. Like that's just so general. It's not specific. It doesn't really motivate anyone. It's not necessarily believable. Like, who are you, the Dalai Lama or something? Like, how to be happy in life? Like, there's just so many problems with that when you're too general. So try to be more specific. Like, let's take a website designer, for example. Instead of like saying, I'll help you design your entire website and learn how to do marketing and all this and sell your product and all this stuff from your website, a better promise might be, I'll help you just design your homepage or your about page, your about me page, so that it's compelling, So like solving smaller micro problems is sometimes better than trying to solve this big general problem. That's just a little piece of advice there.
So that goes back to like simply serving the first 10 people, right? Is that correct? So if you're going to like solve a very specific problem for a specific niche, that goes back to like simply serving 10 people instead of trying to get more, right? So I have one debatable debatable question about that one. So people are going to be saying like, yeah, you're suggesting reaching the first 10 people by doing so and so and so. But how am I supposed to create ultimate freedom? We already touched this a little, but people's thoughts are going to go backwards like that. So how am I going to get ultimate freedom? I'm just going to touch 10 people. So how would you like respond to that kind of limiting belief?
Well, everyone starts at zero, and the first few people that you help, that's like the most important part of your whole journey, because those first people you help are going to be the ones that validate your idea and tell you that it's a good idea, and also they're going to give you feedback and testimonials after you help them that are going to give you more credibility and show other people that you can help them. So those first few people are the most important. Those are the people that you want to get results for as fast as possible and help them as much as possible. Even if you have to help those first few customers or students, if you have to help them more one-on-one and give them more one-on-one attention, that's totally fine in the beginning, because you want to get those people results, because those are the people that are going to provide that feedback that you need to improve your product, and hopefully testimonials telling how great your product is and how much it has helped them. And then when you show those testimonials to other people, now it's 10 times easier to sell your product, because here are all these other people saying, look how much like this person helped me. This person helped me achieve this, and here's how much I liked this program or this course. So those first few people are essential, and you need to give them everything you got. And that's the foundation of everything. It's really just getting people results. Yeah.
Then it's going to be a ripple effect. So I'd like to add to that, there's this thing in CRA that we call the referral system. So even if, let's say you have 10 people, we're talking about your first 10 people here, and each 10 people is going to recommend 3 people to you, and it's going to be a successful client. So at the end of that all, you're going to be having 30 people total. And then those 30 people are also going to be recommending 3 more people each. And so it's just going to be this ripple effect. That's why that first 10 people is like your beta testers, that's what we call them. And you provide as much as value as you can so that those people are going to spread the word and they're going to do the marketing for you. That's part of what we call automation, is that you have these people call them in Filipino galamay, or like octopus legs, that are definitely going to do the work for you. Okay, so do you have anything to add in the CLA formula, or anything from the first two questions that I mentioned before we go through the comments?
I think we can take some questions now.
Okay. So we have one here from Aries Jimenez. This is more of like addressing me personally. But I just like to also, get you to witness this. So Aries is asking, on your journey in freelancing, have you been mentored, or did I pay someone to mentor me? So this one, I did not have any mentor per se, but I had someone who was an incredible cheerleader, and you're looking at him in the left part of the screen right now. So he was the one who was like cheering me on and like telling me that, hey, you can do this. This is what you probably should do. This is probably you should do. And that's the reason why we're both here right now, is because he's part of the reason why I'm here. So I did not really get any mentors, but he was my cheerleader, and he kind of like pinpointed to the best directions possible. And the thing how we both work, Bo and I are more of like a partner. So we're not only like partners in life, but we're partner in like all sorts of things. He's the idea machine, and I'm more of like the action taker. So if he's going to feed multiple ideas on me, I kind of like pick which one of those are the best, and that's what we're going to take action on. So yeah, there's that question answered.
Yeah.
Do you want to add
I'd like to
anything
say
to that?
well, I've had a lot of mentors in my life as well, and that's why I'm able to mentor other people. So, everyone should have a mentor, and everyone, I think, should be a mentor. Yep.
Okay.
Next question, I guess.
Alrighty, next question. We have one from Charlotte. Would love to know more tips on building an online course. Why are you
I'm not
laughing?
gonna read the second part.
She said, you two look so adorable. Thank you. All right. Anyway, so let's get back to live video.
Well, that's a
Tips
little
on
bit
building an online course.
general. That's a little bit general of a question, but we actually made a whole podcast episode about this.
Yeah.
So I would recommend you listen to that podcast, because we went pretty deep into how to build an online course, actually. Like, that was a really good episode, I think. So it's the Heart of Selling podcast. You can find it on Spotify or iTunes. And
Yeah.
is it on YouTube yet? I don't know. But
No, it's not on YouTube yet, but it is one of the best podcast episodes that we made. We really took it was long. It was like more than an hour, I think, that we just talked
Yeah.
about tips on building an online course, and we went really deep on that one. So you might want to check that out. Okay, next question. Let's see. We have one from Letitia Heaven. This is a little bit long. She said, when creating a digital product, for example, an online course, does it need to be certified or approved by a certain agency for it to pass as good for consumption? Let's pick on that one first.
Absolutely not. I think it would depend. I mean, if you're teaching certain things like curing a disease or something, then that might go against
Then that one.
FDA guidelines or whatever. But in the most cases, no. I guess that's another common belief people have, is that you need to be you need to have a degree or a certificate that certifies that you know what you're talking about. And that's not actually true. You don't need any kind of qualifications, and people don't even care about that. Like, I don't think anyone has ever asked me or you, like, what qualifications do you have? It's like maybe 1 in 1,000 people care about that. So it doesn't matter. Like, your results that you get people will speak for themselves. Your product will speak for itself. If it's a good product, people will recognize that, and that's all you need. You don't need to have a certificate, or it doesn't need to pass any approval or anything. It has to pass the approval of your customers.
Yes.
But that's the goal long term, is to create a great product. But that can be done over time as well.
There's one thing that I'd like to add to that as well. So in the course of Create Rise Academy, there's not really anyone who told me like, how credible are you to do this? But there are some people, like skeptical people, they really want to know, like, are you like legitimate? Can you do this? Can you do that? And for you to be able to battle that kind of limiting beliefs that are people getting from before they would want to buy your product, you can just send them testimonials. You can send them testimonials, or you can simply create a page wherein you have testimonials there of the results that you have already gotten rather, from your beta testers that we were talking about earlier. The first 10 people that gets into your digital product or your online course or whatever that may be, get them testimonials as fast, get them results rather, as fast as you can. Those are the testimonials that you're going to collect, put them in your Facebook page or whatever that may be, and that's the credibility that you can present to these people, right? So that's one thing. And then also, I think that your videos in itself, your content, should be also part of the credibility. So that's one thing that I also noticed, is that when people go through my YouTube channel or my videos, they don't even think about the testimonials anymore. Like, they don't really care if I've gotten results for others, but once they see me on video, they're like, oh, okay, she's actually an okay person, maybe I should probably try her product, so and so. So that's part of the credibility that you may want to
Yeah.
also
It's
provide for
also
yourself.
it's also about getting people results in advance.
Mm.
So you should be providing free content that gets people results before they ever buy your paid content. Like, your free content should be so good that they can get results just with that. And then if they want to buy your paid stuff, they can. Yeah. So it
Okay.
speaks for itself, the value you provide.
Let's see if there's more part of our concern of legitimacy. Okay, right. So that's all for her, I think, Letitia. So I hope we answered your question. We're already almost an hour in, so we'll wrap this up a little. Let's see what we have here. This one is a little tricky. We have a question from Elena Valenzuela. What's the software you can recommend to automate a passive income? So this one's a little bit vague, don't you think? Like there's
Um,
not one software.
well, we use a lot of different softwares, but there are some that are like all-in-one softwares that kind of do everything. One of them is Kajabi, 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 and then
Yeah.
Drop Funnels is a new one. Drop Funnels, it's kind of like all-in-one. It has a blog, online course creation,
Might be a
checkout
cheaper
pages.
option also for people.
It's cheaper, yeah. Dropfunnels.com. So
Also,
that's a
to
pretty good
add
one.
to this one, when you're saying you automate a passive income, there's so many things that are tied to that. There's so many things to unpack. I don't think that it would be necessary to just simply boil them down in softwares, because apart from the softwares, there's also this thing that you call marketing strategies that you need to implement in order for the softwares and all these things to, run smoothly like a well-oiled machine. So when you're trying to
Well,
automate
there's
or
no
create a
magic.
passive
There's
income,
no magic software. There's no magic
yeah.
pill. Like, no income is actually, I want 100% passive. Like, there's work involved. If you just want passive income, then you probably should just invest in the stock market or something. But you need a lot of money to do that to have any impact. So yeah, there's going to be work, and there's no magic software that's going to create passive income. The software is just a way to automate, some of your sales and marketing processes and stuff.
Okay. Alrighty. So I hope we answered that question. Let's see. All right. We have one from Ana Escobia. For the automation part, would you suggest paid ads, FB and IG ads, over content marketing, or content marketing over paid advertisements? What are the advantages of each? And when or what situations would you suggest paid advertisements to a freelancer? You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. First of all, I'd say you shouldn't choose one over the other. I think you need both, because your free content that you're creating can be repurposed and turned into paid advertisements. So you kind of can get both done in one. Like, you say you make a video to put on YouTube. Well, you could take that same video or a clip out of that video and make it into an ad for Facebook. So you can do both, and they also serve different purposes. Facebook ads is more for when you have a proven product that you can sell and the numbers work. Like, if I put $100 into ads, I'm going to get at least $100 back. Like, I'm going to at least break even, if not make a profit. The free content is more for longer term sustainability, because if your paid ads account can get shut down and there's nothing you can do about it really. And if you are only relying on paid ads for your business and you don't have a content marketing strategy behind that, then your business can disappear overnight, basically. So I would recommend doing both.
Okay. So in my case also, I'm a big fan of content marketing because that's my strength. And then also Bo's strength is also on paid ads. That's why we delegate between him and me. We delegate the tasks, like you do the paid ads because I do the content marketing because that's what I'm good at. So Anna also added in the comment section, I know in CRA we're taught to focus on content marketing, but just wondering if FB ads are also advisable for freelancers. Yes, Anna, in terms of Facebook ads, you can still definitely do that. There's no problem in it. I think the only con would be like if you know exactly what you're doing, because you could spend a lot of money on Facebook ads and all of that would go to waste because no client is going to contact you. So we can't dive deeper into Facebook ads at this moment, but it is for sure definitely applicable also for freelancers. In terms of content marketing, it's more of like the long-term game for me. I feel like, that's what Bo was talking about earlier when he asked me, like, you never ever sold CRA in your life, right? And that's true because I'm doing the selling and the content marketing itself. What that means is I'm providing value and it's up to you if you're going to enroll in my program or not, right? So that could also be something that you do as a freelancer, is that if you're offering a website design service, for example, you can create content marketing tutorials on how to build a website. And you're like, yeah, that might be counterproductive, because that's also what I told Bo back in the day, is like, that might be counterproductive, like you're creating website tutorials on YouTube and you're trying to get, a client for a website. But that isn't actually the case, because once they see how technical that is, some people would just like tech vomit. Like, I don't even want to do that. Can I just pay you to do it? And so they would try to contact you. This actually happened to me a few days ago. It's so funny. I'm not offering digital marketing services anymore, but because my YouTube videos just started appearing in search results, there was actually someone who was very much willing to pay me $1,500 per month to do the marketing for his beauty product. And I was asking Bo, I was like, should I even get this? Like, I'm already like super busy with CRA and all that kind of stuff and like content marketing, and I was like saying like, should I even get this? Like, I should probably get this, don't you think? Because it's like a good extra money. But truth be told, the time is something that's more valuable than money. So if I'm going to like have him have my time, then I don't have time for other things anymore that are much valuable for me or something that I would love doing, right? So that's the thing. I just created content rather, about digital marketing, and someone can actually approach me and be like, can you do the digital marketing for me, right? So that's one thing that you can do as well in terms of content marketing. Okay, so I hope that was answered. Let's have here. We're already 1 hour in. Do you want to just tackle these 2 last questions, or do you want to entertain more questions? How do you want to go about this?
We can get a few more. Just go through them quick and answer them as quick as possible.
Okay. So we have one from Nika Matriano. If there would be some wordings you brought with you in your journey up to now as a freelancer, what are those? So I think she's talking about inspirational words. This is more about in freelancing. Do you want to say something about this?
Well, I mean, I think we should probably keep it on topic. Like, we're kind of talking about courses and digital products.
Okay. So I'll just answer this real quick.
Another day.
Okay, so I'll just answer this real quick because we're already... Okay, so she's already here.
Go ahead.
Can I just... Can I just say, if you are looking for an inspiration in terms of freelancing, just use the quote, feel the fear, but do it anyway. Because when you're freelancing, you're mostly encapsulated by a lot of fears. And when you just hear that quote, it can actually motivate you to keep on moving forward. Right? So I hope that helps, even though it's quick. We have one. Oh, it's not a question actually. All right. So I think that's all that we have, unless you have anything to add. All right, so that's all the questions that we
That's all the
have for
questions.
today. Yep.
Thought I thought we'd get more questions than that. It's okay.
Okay, it's
We'll
okay.
answer
We're
them
going
next
to
week.
have, yeah. So Bo and I will be back next week. Same, kind of like the same topic still. We're going to have Q&A next week. What are we going to do next week?
Yeah, just like a Ask Me Anything session. So people can
Okay.
ask whatever about online courses, building a personal brand.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yep.
So
So you can
there's
post your
that.
comments you can post your question below now, and we'll get to it next week, or you can post it on the live video next week.
Okay, so do you have anything last thing to say? Um, let's end with this. What are what is one thing that you would advise for someone who is just starting out to become an influencer, a personal brand, or someone who really wants to build an online course but is extremely, you know, deterred by some limiting beliefs? Like something that can encourage them to actually make this happen.
I think we kind of talked about that quite a
It's
bit.
fine.
Um,
Just
I think,
add more
I
stuff.
mean, you're putting me on the spot a little bit, but I would just say to to move forward, because you just have to start doing something every day. Take action every day, just a little bit of action every day, because it compounds over time. And on any given day, you might not feel like you've done very much, but at least you've done something. And over time, if you do something every day that's productive and moving you towards your goals, you'd be surprised how fast that adds up. And those little things you do every single day, even if it's just a small task, can turn into really big accomplishments. Like, I started my online marketing journey when I was like 20 years old or something, and I had so many failures. I mean, so many failures. You wouldn't even believe it. But because I kept going and I kept doing little things every day and I kept learning and I never gave up on myself, eventually, I reached a point where I now have freedom in my life and I can do what I want. And it's worth it, but you just have to commit and go into it already thinking that I'm going to succeed no matter what, no matter how long it takes me. I don't care how many times I fail. I'm going to get back up when I fail, and I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to figure it out. And eventually you'll get there. You can get there faster by having mentors and people to show you the way, but just know that you'll get there in time, as long as you just don't quit.
Yeah. So in my case, I'm the polar opposite in terms of these things. When something is not working for me, I get very, very impatient. And then I would start thinking about what else can I do? Okay, because it's important for me to keep on moving all the time. And if it's something is stagnant, then I'd be like, okay, there's something wrong in this one. There's a system that's not working. I should probably do another thing. Right. And I think that if it weren't for Bo telling me, like, no, you just got to keep on moving forward. You know, you just got to do this. You just got to do this. Just keep on moving forward. And what I'm trying to say here is that it's very important for you to find someone who can keep you accountable of the actions that you're making, right? And that for me was Bo, trying to just keep on telling me like, hey, you have to keep on doing this, because like what I said, I'm a triple movement type. Like, just tell me that something is not working, like I'm going to change it. I'm going to provide new solutions. And then if it's still not working, then I'm like, okay, shit. Like, I might have to do something else, right? So that's not the case all the time. Although sometimes it's also a feasible solution to do that, but not all the time. Like, you just got to keep on doing, even if there is very small progress that you're making. Okay. Alrighty, so there's that. 1 hour in, and you told me that we're not going to reach an hour. Okay,
That was
so
fun. Thanks for
right,
having me.
of
And I
course.
hope your viewers got some value today and learned something. And I'll
Yeah.
be back next week, all right?
Yeah, so we'll be back next week. We'll be answering more questions about how you can become an influencer, a personal brand, or something, anything about online course at all, right? And then we'll see you in the next video. So, bye guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Peace.